And I now have myself an ender pack. The ender pack, when you right-click it, goes to your vanilla ender chest, and you can put absolutely anything in here. Even force packs. Backception! And of course, if you should happen to die, or this pack should happen to fall into lava, you'll be fine because it's your vanilla ender chest inventory. Ender is actually a tier 5 upgrade, and it's going to take a good amount to get up to that. Now, you don't need an upgraded tome to make some of the more useful upgrades. For instance, if you want fortune, all you have to do is make yourself something called a fortune cookie, which you make out of cookies and paper. You then eat the fortune cookie, and you receive a paper fortune. That does not stack. Now, you can read it, right-click it, and these fortunes have random sayings on them. Success is often preceded by failure, then followed again by failure. That's true. Nuggets of wisdom such as that one, or sometimes just random news that you needed to know, like Keyboard Cat has carpal tunnel. Oh, I did not know that. Thank you, Fortune. And then of course sometimes they just get a little pithy with you. I'm not a vending machine. Okay. Anyway, those are very much irrelevant, but they do have the luck attribute on them. And I'm going to put 4 of them in there. Flint, which gives grinding, and then I'm going to speed it up with 3 speed. And this upgrade is going to take a while, and probably a good amount of this energy. Okay, so about a full minute later, I have a force pickaxe with grinding, speed 3, and fortune 4. Fortune, of course, is self-explanatory. That's vanilla. More diamonds. Now, as for grinding, you could probably guess what this is going to do. It actually grinds the block that it mines into dusts. Now, it actually will use Thermal Expansion's pulverizer recipes first if you have it installed, and there's a valid recipe for it. If neither of those are the case, then it will try and use DartCraft. And if you don't have any of those mods installed, or that block just isn't pulverizable or maceratable in that order, it will not do anything. And as you can see, it also, when it runs through the pulverizer, has the chance to get the bonus output. A bit of note about the bonus output, it's actually increased by about 10% per level of fortune too. So there's a good chance that you're going to get the bonus material when you use a force pickaxe with both grinding and fortune on it. Now this pick is about to break. And there it goes. And you see when it broke, it actually gave me a force shard. Now, these force shards can actually be used. Notice the points on the tome, 89. 79 to next tier now. It imbues 1 bucket of liquid force and 10 additional points in an upgrade tome when you put them inside a force infuser. This is their only use. Now, if you have DartCraft installed and you're thinking, boy, it would be awesome to just be able to put all this stuff on a drill instead of having to have a tool that I have to remake a bunch of times, well, you're in luck, because you can actually upgrade either the mining drill or the diamond drill with just force. And if it's a diamond drill, it will actually shoot out the diamonds used to make it so that you can reclaim them, and it'll give you a power drill. Now, this thing is just like a basic mining drill, except that it has 15,000 EU, so I'm going to charge it really quickly. I've got a lap pack equipped, and I can use this to break everything that the mining drill could be used to break, and it's taking out of the lap pack. It's a lot slower than the diamond drill, but the unique thing about this is it's socketable. If I shift right-click on the drill, it'll actually open up this interesting interface where you can see there are 3 spaces for putting things. Now, I actually can't place any items in here at all. There's a very specific type of item from DartCraft that you have to put in here. Now, to start the process, I'm going to have to make another force tome. Now, with this force tome, I'm actually going to have to upgrade it with a very special upgrade you haven't seen yet. I'm going to need a bottle of enchanting, which is now craftable thanks to DartCraft with a water bottle, redstone, and glowstone dust to get you 1. Now, this isn't meant to just farm experience, although if you want to, you could. It actually imbues the experience upgrade on a force tome and turns it into an experience tome with experience 0. And this thing's special. This thing is a different type of Force Tome that I actually can't use as an upgrade tome. But what I can do is I can shift right-click it to have it absorb the experience that I have. And holding shift right-click will make it continue to absorb it at a constant rate. I can also right-click to get it back. And I can also mouse over it at any time to see how much experience it has. Right now it has 510. You can store an unlimited amount of experience in this thing, and you could just, for safekeeping, keep it inside your Ender Pack. And if you need some levels because you want to do some vanilla enchanting, or you want to use an anvil over here, then by all means, save your experience, pull it out when you need it. But you can also take another one that you don't need, drop it on the ground, and right-click it with your Force Rod to get a bunch of these little circular things called upgrade cores. Now, you'll get one upgrade core for 50 experience, so for 500 experience, I just got 10. Now, these upgrade cores do not stack, and they are upgradable with one of several upgrades. Now, if I want to throw 4 luck on this, I can, because with an upgrade core, you can only stick one type of upgrade on them. But you can stack it up to that upgrade's maximum level. So I just made myself a Luck 4 upgrade core, and I'm going to go ahead and shift right click this power drill, and stick Luck in one of these 3 slots. Luck is now stuck in this slot, I can't take it out, and if I want to remove it, I shift right click to completely delete that upgrade core from existence. So socket these carefully because you cannot reclaim the upgrade core. So if I take this power drill with Fortune 4 on it to this coal, you'll notice I'm receiving extra pieces of coal because Fortune is on the drill. Also be aware, however, that this takes a significant amount more power than normal. And of course, if I were to add other things like this Speed 5 upgrade core, it would go much faster. In fact, a little bit faster than the diamond drill. Now, I have one more slot I can put in here. I'm going to put grinding in here. So this now has grinding, speed 5, and fortune 4. Now, it actually will apply both fortune and grinding to this coal to get me coal dust. And at the moment, there are several other upgrades available to the drill. I could also put heat on an upgrade core. And I think the only other one is Silk Touch, which I haven't shown you yet, but to get Silk Touch, you need cobwebs. And I add a recipe for cobwebs that's just 5 string. So, if I were to put this upgrade core in here with a cobweb, I would get an upgrade core with touch in it. If I take out the grinding core, delete it, and then put touch in here, it should actually drop the coal ore itself instead of applying fortune. And there's nothing saying that you can't make multiple power drills. Maybe one that just has speed and fortune on it, and another one that actually has grinding, heat, and fortune on it. And frankly, I've done that before, and I was really happy with it. Now, I'm going to briefly detour away from upgrade cores to show you the wing upgrade. I'm just going to make a basic wing sword, because I don't want to wait 12 minutes while this thing makes its sword. Alright, now we now have a wing sword. You can see it's a little bluer than most swords, and actually the nice thing about this is you can kind of fly with it. What you can do is you can hold space and then right click and it'll fling you a bit. Of course you have to be careful because it won't slow your fall for you. What you can do, however, is hold space to slow your fall. And now you see up in the top left corner there's something like a wing meter up there in that corner. And the more I use it, the more depleted it becomes. And eventually, I won't be able to use it anymore, and it will just make me fall. And of course, it's going to take a little while to recharge as a penalty. But I really can use this to just kind of fling myself around, too. It's pretty sweet. Do remember, though, to slow your fall manually, or you will crunch really, really hard. It's pretty easy to kill yourself with this thing if you're not paying attention. Fortunately, there are a lot of other mods that add some different types of boots or what have you to lower fall damage. Of course, this isn't by no means the only use of the wing sword. You can actually hold Shift, Space, and right-click to briefly allow flight. Now, this is Smart Moving's version of flight, but You may have noticed that there were some interesting particle effects as well. While Smart Moving is the mod I have installed because I like it to change the flight animation, even in default Minecraft, these flight particles will spawn. And you can turn off the flight by just double tapping space. Again. So, be wary of this. You have about 8 full seconds of flight using this default sized wing meter. And if you're flying with this and you switch off the wing sword for any reason, you'll fall. So be careful. Now that I've shown you that, there's actually a unique armor set in DartCraft that you can make. To start, you just make yourself the basic leather armor. Then what you do is you drop it, and you guessed it, right-click it with a force rod. And boom, you now have something called force armor. Looks familiar. I don't know why. And it gives you some moderate protection. From all damage sources, actually, even a little bit of falling. With a full set of this equipped, you'll actually receive about a 40% reduction to all damage right now. And, that may go down in the future. But you can actually buff the protection of this stuff by socketing it. So if I take one of these and shift right-click it, it'll open the same socketing interface that I had previously. Now I've prepared several different types of upgrade cores here. Let's start with the one we just explored, Wing. If I put an upgrade core with Wing into a piece of gear, it'll actually add 1 additional wing meter to the total amount. So basically, I can use this and I now have twice the amount of flight power as I did before. And since I'm wearing at least 1 piece of gear with Wing in it, I can actually switch off my sword and still fly around. Now if I were to put Wing in each piece of this gear and equip it, it would keep increasing my maximum wing power up to a total of 5 times the original. And the nice thing about having Wing on your gear is that if you have even 1 piece, you can actually initiate flight as if you were holding a sword, even if you're holding nothing. In fact, your hands have to be empty, but you can hold Shift, Space, and right-click, and you'll fly. Now it's worth noting, though, that this meter recharges at a standard rate, so it'll actually take a good amount of time for it to recharge, and you have to not be flying for it to recharge. Alright, now let's test the default defensibility of this armor. And keep in mind, all of these numbers are subject to change, as I've been changing them drastically a lot. Let's see if we could take a creeper explosion. I don't know about this one. Well, that's not right. Let's try that again. Yeah. Okay, I'll be changing these numbers, but just know that this is not meant to make you invincible. However, you can become practically invincible with this if you upgrade these with Sturdy. Now, each level of Sturdy will add about another 12.5% reduction to total damage. When you add all of the bonuses up, it ends up being approximately 90% reduction to all damage here. You see I have Wing and Sturdy on these things. All damage should be reduced by 90%. However, the unique thing about the armor is it also rounds the damage down in favor of the player. So sometimes you may not take damage at all from this. This is the thing where if I have a creeper right here, stand right next to him. Yeah, nothing. Really, he's got nothing. This is practically invincibility armor, but takes a little damage there. Now, for the time being, this armor only has 1 additional function, and it even comes into play with monsters. So if I were to get another angry zombie, I could punch him a little bit. Most notably, there's an interesting knockback in the direction that you're facing, and of course, an interesting sound. Oh, that's fun. So just a nice set of armor, when socketed properly, makes you sort of a Superman. Whee! Although be aware right now, the way that DartCraft programs their goggles are revealing, it actually interferes with several things, even the vanilla hotbar, and it interferes with my wing meter as well, darkening it and making it harder to see. I don't think there's anything I can do about that, because, like I said, it screws with vanilla a little bit too. Now, I'm only actually going to talk about one more upgrade here, and that's actually the holding upgrade, because it has a very specific use. It's something that if I didn't mention it, I doubt anyone would figure this out. Now, Actually, the force rod is also socketable. If you shift right-click it, you can open the socketing interface, but the difference is this only has one socket available. One of the few things you can socket in right now is holding, and when you do so, it becomes the force rod of holding. And with this force rod of holding, you're going to want to make sure you have a good amount of glass bottles in your inventory. Now this is something I added recently. I thought it was useful, mostly for animal husbandry really, but you can basically take the rod of holding and right-click any entity with it and bottle them in place. And it dropped a bottled chicken and did durability damage to the rod. That's right, bottled animals. Yeah, so if you want to just go up to an animal, just right-click him with this thing, and it'll actually work from about 16 blocks away. You can just do that to all your animals. You could say, hey, you know what I don't have around my house within several hundred blocks? I don't have any chickens, or I don't have any cows. Well, don't worry about that anymore. Just bottle them up, shove them in a force pack, and take them with you. And if you want to release them, all you have to do is right-click, it'll throw the bottle, and they will spawn with all of their data intact, health, items they're holding, whatever, although chickens can't hold items, and they'll just be there. Look, a bottled cow. And now he's on the roof. That's great. Now, if you're wondering, yes, this actually will work on other entities, even aggressive entities. However, there's a config setting to only let it work on animals and villagers. So if you'd rather not have people bottling creepers and zombies on your server, just set that setting. However, there's also a specific setting if you just don't want people bottling creepers, to prevent that. But, in my own world, I allow the bottling of creepers. Nope. Nope. That's too much fun, isn't it? If you find a village, I say bottle them all up, shove them in a pack, take them home. And that is the last upgrade I'm actually going to go over. There are a lot of things I didn't get to in this, and frankly, it seems a bit much to explain at once. So, for the little things that I didn't talk about, go ahead and read the forum post in the description below. Oh, it does work through glass. Awesome. But there are still a few things I feel need mentioning. Like force gems can be squeezed into 1.5 buckets of liquid force, with an occasional force shard as bonus. So really, you ought to squeeze all your force gems, if you can. Also, if you pipe in liquid force into your carpenter, there are several interesting recipes. You can actually make force ingots out of any of the other recipes mentioned earlier, by putting them touching either vertically or horizontally. And it actually only uses 3/4 of a bucket of liquid force, so again, it's more efficient. It's just that you have to use DartCraft energy in these machines to do so. The last thing I'm going to show requires some soul sand, a diamond, some claws from bats, and either some ghast tears or tears, which are something from my mod that I did not tell you how to get. And you can get something called an inert core. This thing itself is relatively inexpensive, but what you have to do for it is a little tricky. You actually have to drop this, burn it, but it won't burn, and then use a force rod on it, and you will get a bottled wither. Now the way I did this, it actually won't explode when you release it. However, it will attack you, and it is a wither, and it will hurt. Okay, so if you were watching my videos before and you saw that you just had to upgrade it into a nether star, no. Now you have to work for your nether star, but you don't have to go getting those annoying skulls either. So to end this video, I'm going to come way over here, away from all of my stuff, and release this wither. And there he is. Good lord. Punch the wither!